What's up everyone, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be making a review for the new 3 styles for Spiral Corridor. We have Magellan, Windie and Faerie. These 3 new styles are not exactly that good and we'll be talking about them right now. Starting with Faerie. This version of Faerie is just a counter attacker with a very high risk. There are 2 different versions of Faerie in the game. The first one is the normal one from Romancing Saga, the other one is Brownie, and they are different characters. The very first here on the top is a limited style, the second one is also limited, but from Halloween, only S, and then we have the Platinum, call it Welcome to Faerieville, and then we have just an innocent Faerie. This is the current one from Spiral, and they are very comparable and have similar design. Just an innocent Faerie is an upgrade with higher STR, a little higher endurance, agility, intelligence, and will. This character has high STR and agility, but not so high. Only 1 arrow for STR, double arrows for agility. If you want to get more STR, you need to rely on her Platinum style. Well, like I said, she's a risky counter, and the first passive already shows when she is directly attacked, she has a 37% chance to evade the attack and counter attack with a normal attack. So once every 3 hits, you can counter only direct attacks with a normal attack. So high risk, low payoff. Sadly, this is not good. And the second passive is even worse. Hard Wallop 4, when she's on full HP, she gets 20% increase in damage. We don't get characters with this passive anymore because it is bad. We don't stay on full HP the whole fight, only when you are farming. That's why Christmas Rupina has this. When you are on a boss fight, you'll be taking damage, and especially if she gets hit with indirect attacks like spells, she will just lose the damage passive. Then the last one is Overtension. We get 15% at all times, 30% on combo, and 45% on overdrive. It's not so good. Sadly, she may just die before getting overdrive. The first skill is called Poke, and with 4 BP we have C Power Pierce. Many recent characters got C power with 3 BP, so this is not terrible but not good at all. The second one is Hyper Plus. This one gives her an AoE attack with D power, 11 modifier, and has a chance to inflict stun. Her intelligence is just good for old characters, not for the current game. She hardly hits stun. Then we have Arm of Light. This is an attack with 9 BP coast, triple S damage, and 56 power. Compared to characters released on the past year, this is still not so strong. But, well, if you are missing out on Pierce and you are desperate, this can help in farming only. Well, you can look on the past version and you can find an AoE attack called Stardust Shot. Well, 8 VP is not so helpful, but she can use on turn 1 and 3 if you are a starter and you are still missing pierce damage. At least Arm of Light Plus is an upgrade over Triumvirate that was actually pretty bad, only double S power and 45. Sadly, this version of Faerie don't add much to the table. If you need counter, you need a high payoff so that you can kill the enemy while countering. If you rely on this, you take forever to do any noticeable damage, and she can just get hit and her endurance is bad. Direct attacks are usually physical and you would die before making any real impact in the fight. Although she may not be so good for boss fights, you can still use her as a replacement for farming. You can use Amazon Raid X formation, place her on the front line, use Arm of Light on turn 1 and then Poke, or you can just use Reaper 3 times if you need help with AoE damage. She is not so good, but still receives a low S grade in our tier list, but that may change in the future. The next character we'll be talking about is Magellan. This character uses Axis and has a focus on STR, with double arrows for it and 1 arrow for agility with some bonus, but does not mean that he's so fast. We have very bad endurance, a little higher will, and dexterity on average with very bad love and charisma. Well, he's not a premium style, so he actually shows that by his passives. He can also share inheritance with Enrique. This character is also from Romancing Saga 2. So for passives we have Increased Profits number 4, increases the amount of Aurum dropped at the end of the fight. This actually helps new players or people desperate for Aurum. It's the highest increase we have. For damage we have Engage 3. On the start of a round, damage increases by 30% and only lasts for 1 turn. That means that it doesn't have any effect on the second turn. Fired Up 5 increases damage by 20, so he has 50% on turn 1 and then only 20 on turn 2. For attacks, we have Crescent Slash Plus, an 8 BP attack with a power and 28 modifier that hits for column, followed up by Heavy Slash, a D power attack by the same way. So he can open with Crescent Slash and use Heavy Slash 2 times. The thing is, we hardly ever find enemies aligned in a column, and in the future when we get enemies aligned in a column as well, they will require higher power, and higher skills will start appearing with even double S power at 8 BP cost, so that you can do more damage. Right now it's not so useful, and in the future it will be weak, so yeah, sadly not so good. Then the third one is called Reverse Delta. For 10 BP we have double S power 52. We see a lot of triple S damage attacks with 9 BP, 10 BP. We just talked about that with Faerie, and his version is even weaker. There is also some inheritance from his A style, but don't waste your Amplify badges with him. He's not strong, his attacks are not useful, and you only be using him to increase the Auron drop. So even though he has high status, I still don't think that he deserves much higher than an A grade in our tier list, because Slash is easy to find and his cycles are not perfect. The last style is Windie, and she shares styles with SaGa. There are 3 different versions of Windie. There's one that we can summon on the Spiral. There is this A style from a past Christmas, limited. Then we have this S Platinum, and SaGa is limited in the current banner. Well, they have actually very similar status if you look on them, with the Spiral version having lower status, but not by much. But it's a very low endurance, very low will, and a focus on dexterity, agility, and intelligence, with bonuses on intelligence and dexterity. She uses bows and uses wind element. We have double arrows for dexterity, 1 arrow for agility. SaGa, for example, has double arrows for dexterity too, but focus on will. Windie may be the best character of the bunch, but that's not to say much. She relies on too much RNG and cannot compete with the premium styles we have in the game right now. Let's talk about skills first. The first one, Healing Arrow. With 3 BP we have an E power attack with 9 modifier that also heals. This attack deals pierce damage, and you can just keep using as long as you want and recover HP for a lot of sustain. This attack also appears on the Global X version of Claudia. The second attack, called Chaos Shot, with 5 BP we have D power 13 modifier, and this can be used 3 times in a row. It's very similar to Rapid Volley Plus, and also can be found on the UDX version of Claudia. She's stealing 2 attacks from Claudia. And the last attack is called Tempest Orb. For 11 BP we have a triple S attack that deals slash damage this time, with 57 modifier. Well, let's talk about this. It's too costly for a low power triple S attack. Yes, but it's a spell and you also need a wind bolt. This makes it even harder to use. We don't have double S arrows with wind element, so you will need to use an S weapon right now, or craft when we get the craftable weapon system in the future. But this character is not so powerful for damage anyway. I still believe it's a waste. Let's talk about the passives. The first one is called Chasing Tempest. When she is attacking with Healing Arrow, she has a 37% chance to chase with Tempest Orb. So yeah, you cannot escape, you need the Wind Bowl, and the Pest Orb will be used with rank 1. On average, it happens once every 3 attacks, it's unreliable, and the damage increase is not so incredible. Then we have Invigorate, and we have a 37% chance to get 1 BP. I don't understand why we get this, because she wants to keep using Healing Arrow. They could have given her a damage pass instead of this. Then we have Battle Tension, and there is a 15% increase in damage and 1 BP on start, just to guarantee that she opens with Tempest Orb, an attack that costs more than it should, and then just reverts to Healing Arrow forever till she chases with Tempest Orb again. This character tries to have a design, but the status don't justify, the passives don't justify. You will only be using her in the future if you want to use a character for the bow simulation and you don't have 5 premium bow users, when they may be a replacement if you don't. Sadly, this is my opinion. What is yours? Please say here in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I hope to see you soon in the next one. Bye.